And good morning. It's time for another Tom and Shane podcast. Thanks for joining us this morning. And our topic today, we're going to talk about how marketing creates value. How marketing creates value, and quite a topic for today, Shane.
Well, absolutely is. I mean, in some ways, we've covered this in the past.
Mhm.
The old Scottish credo, do you need it or want it? So, marketing has always been around trying to create the need or solving the need for people. And then advertising, of course, is trying to create a want.
Absolutely.
People.
Yeah.
So you've done a brilliant idea, or you came up with a brilliant idea in 2000, 21 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's true today. It's one of
Mhm.
those epiphanies people have, and it makes a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. Well, today, what we want to talk about, of course, is how marketing creates value. And as Shane said, this kind of came to me standing out in a cold, freezing Montana morning, waiting to give a talk to some folks here in Montana. And I don't know, this just popped into my head about marketing creating value. So I thought we would chat a little bit about that today. But one thing we got to start with is what makes something valuable to others. And Shane and I were just talking about an artist in New York who died 33 years ago at the age of 27 from a heroin overdose. And his paintings just sold the other day for $93 million. And we've also got things like these artwork in the cloud. Can't touch it, can't hang it on the wall, can't do anything with it, but people are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for these non-existent things. So what makes something valuable, Shane? Jeez.
Well, capitalism is based upon the concept of supply and demand. So one issue that causes value is supply. If there's a greater demand than there is supply, it causes it to go up. But it's a personal desire or want for something that also creates a huge amount of value.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting concept because man has that one emotion that everyone has to deal with: greed.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly part of it. One thing that creates value that we use marketing for is information. And that was no better described, or we saw it firsthand. Toilet paper shortage.
Yeah,
COVID.
exactly.
You couldn't. The shelves were empty. You couldn't buy hand sanitizer. You couldn't buy toilet paper. And now we're seeing a gas shortage on the East Coast due to the pipeline shut down. Cars are lined up because, oh my God, I've got 3/4 of a tank of gas, but I've got to get gas. So there we are, lined up at the gas tanks because of information that there's a shortage of something or something's in demand. Baseball cards selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars, all kinds of collectibles and things like that. But information is definitely what makes something valuable, I think.
Yeah, in your article, you pointed out really well too. The simple fact of supply is that events. If you go to a fight, there's only so many ringside seats, and they're not cheap. And
Yeah.
if you want to be on the 50th, the 50-yard line, 10 rows up, but to watch a NFL football game, those tickets are expensive. They're not expensive, three layers up in the bowl,
Yeah.
you have 50 rows up where you need binoculars. you look down the field from there, and it's like you're watching the game on a cell phone. It's so small.
Yeah, you're watching ants play.
Exactly.
Pretty small. Well, that's very true. One of the analogies I use when I speak, I've got a pen here, that collectible pen somebody gave me, and I use the analogy that maybe this pen would sell for, I don't know, $50 maybe, and but it's used. So what would you pay for it used? Well, a lot of people would say probably half price. Okay, we'll pay half for it, and I would say, well, it doesn't work. Now what's it worth? So a lot of people would say, well, nothing really. And I said, well, the reason it doesn't work is because instead of ink in the cartridge, there is an ounce of solid gold.
Wow.
So now what's it worth? But the point of this exercise is that every time I gave you information about the pen, your perception of the value changed. And that's what marketing does.
That's correct.
Yeah. Creates that value by information, providing information, finding information. And that's what we want to talk about next is how exactly does marketing create value? And that was kind of my pen demonstration there moments ago. But yeah, marketing. We do market research. We do target market. All of those things come together to create value.
That's right. Marketing informs the person that's looking for something, and advertising makes them aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a remarkable combination, because we've seen it with the age of the 21st century. In the 50s and 60s with television. I mean, an entire industry on Fifth Avenue, New York City, grew within 30 years, of marketing and advertising into a multi-billion-dollar industry around the world. And
Yeah.
branded products, meaning it created a recognized name for the product, which was the market or advertising. And then the type of advertising, as you talk about, radio, television, or print, that provided the marketing information. It's no different than getting a newspaper with 20 brochures in it of information for advertising about food and furniture and whatever hardware stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at the advertising that helps pay for what you're learning that's going on in your village.
Yeah.
It changed man. It really changed mankind. Man has never been in this state of freedom before. I mean, it just never existed.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So, well, we got to talk about. You mentioned advertising. Where does advertising come in? One of the another analogy that I use is that my business card is advertising. Deciding who to give my business card to is marketing. Because it's a waste of advertising for me to pass out my business cards to people who are not my target market. And that's the issue that we come down to when the advertising demonstrates the benefits of the product or service to the customer. That's what we use advertising for. Once we've determined we've got a target market and that market research has determined we have a viable product or service, then marketing is or advertising is the tool we use to make that marketing work.
That's right. And an important aspect, excuse me, speaking to these two things or words, however you want to put it, is they're not personal. Marketing and advertising are really impersonal because of how they reach people. They reach people in a direct way that's not personal, and that's a real major key to this, because the minute they are convinced, because of your marketing or advertising, to visit your site or come to your store, now the personal comes in, the personal meet and greet, the personal welcome, and the opportunity to help people unless they've already decided from your marketing and your advertising what they want. So all of this comes together at some point when they pass that threshold of your business to purchase a product.
Yeah. Well, one thing I would say is that whenever you design any advertising, whether it's a brochure, whether it's direct mail, an ad in a paper or something, you should be talking to one person, your best customer. You should be talking to your best customer.
That's right.
Target market, because that's the ideal person. Yeah, we're going to reach the masses, but we want that one person listening to say, "Wow, that message is just for me." So that's where we where we would like to go anyway. So
And I give you full measure for your belief that advertising never advertise anywhere unless you get at least a how big of a positive expectation.
75%.
That's right.
Yeah.
3 to 1.
Yeah.
And that's so relevant because
Mhm.
it's the same as pricing. To a large degree, most everything you purchase retail is basically been doubled in price from what they received it for,
Mhm.
they're creating it for.
Yeah, you got to make a
And
profit.
that's right.
Mhm.
So advertising becomes, essential as you start growing and
Mhm.
feeling the impact of success. But boy, don't waste money advertising if you don't need to.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the other, my two rules, one, when emotion and logic come in conflict, emotion always wins. Emotion has to be in your ad, and emotion is the features of the product, not what it does, or the benefits of the product. I'm sorry, not the features, the benefits of the product, what it does for the customer. And the second rule, one Shane just alluded to, is that you never advertise anywhere unless there's at least a 75% expectation that it's going to produce more business than it costs. Now, occasionally, yes, you'll advertise in the high school yearbook. That's not going to produce big bucks for you, but it's a community service kind of thing. But
Yeah,
the
it's a
majority of your advertising it has to be an investment. It cannot be an expense.
mhm.
It has to be an investment that produces, for every dollar you spend in advertising, you want to get 20 bucks back in business, or 25 or 50 or 100, depending on
And
what it is.
we talk about equity a lot. So advertising has to create equity. If it doesn't create money in the pocket, then it's not good advertising. And that's not necessarily the ad. It may not be what type of advertising. It doesn't if it doesn't reflect money in your pocket, boy, don't go near that. There's
Mhm.
far too many other opportunities, which we like talking about and covering, that you can utilize in the business that you have. Word of mouth, of course, is
Yeah.
to both Tom and I
Mhm.
the single greatest way of marketing and advertising, anyway. So,
Yeah. Yeah. We just did a video on that. I'll put the
mhm,
link in the description below so that you can go back to the word of mouth advertising that we talked about. So
mhm.
I'll put that in the description when we process the video, and that'll be available to you. So, hey, don't forget, we're on radio as well. We are on every Saturday, 8 to 11 Mountain Time. Click a listen now at kmmsam.com. You can hear us anywhere in the world. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to leave any personal information, no credit card, no, nothing to join. All you do is click there and listen. You can call us, you can text us, whatever you want to do. And we talk about all sorts of stuff. Obviously, we'll be talking about the gas shortage. We'll be talking about a lot of things that are going on. The market's on a roller coaster ride, down yesterday, up today. So we'll be talking about stuff like that. So we hope that you will join us for that. And also, any past shows, if you missed anything or if you want to see what we talk about, you can go to Tom and Shane's podcast at kmmsam.com and click on that. So, all right, we will talk to you on Saturday and see you next Tuesday.
And
Thanks.
have a great weekend. Enjoy the spring, and as the weather permits, get out there and garden because it's a great thing to do, and it's a great way to exercise. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
All right, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks for watching.